The prosecutor hasn't come out and said, this would be Jack Smith. Look, we see there's all these leaks. I'm taking it upon myself to do an investigation. Not a single judge that's been involved in these cases on their own. And they have the power to do it. Say, wait a minute. You can't do this to a defendant or a would-be defendant. You can't do this because you violate their Fifth and Sixth Amendment rights.
It is a truth semi-universally acknowledged in Washington that if your only argument is to complain about leaks, then your argument is losing. Mark Levin on his Fox show held nothing back in railing against the Department of Justice and how they're handling the probes into Donald Trump and Hunter Biden and how these dealings are ruining America.
This department is destroying America. It's destroying the 2024 election. It's violating every norm, every tradition, everything it inherited to ensure that that department could be trustworthy and could be reliable. But it has criminalized politics. And I want to say this. If we don't break the back of the Department of Justice, and I will explain what I mean in a moment, it will destroy this country.
So with that threat, it's clear that the right has their marching orders as we head into the final months before the 2024 presidential year and the race officially begins in earnest. But unlike other election years for the party not in power, this Republican primary season is shaping up to look very familiar, with Trump absolutely wiping the floor with his opponents in all recent polling. Ron DeSantis must be hoping he can pull a Trump 2016 and come from so far behind to win, but I'm not sure that's gonna work considering he's running against the guy who actually did that in 2016. And look, people on the right, particularly those who were Team Ron, are already seeing the writing on the wall. Take a look at this Fox interview where political analyst Brit Hume essentially just gives up on any positive outlook for the GOP winning back the White House anytime soon.
Rules of politics about how you win elections have been repealed, and Mr. Trump does not have to abide by them. Indeed, he doesn't. He continually talks about how he didn't lose in 2020, which is, most people believe he did lose. I guess a lot of his hardcore supporters do not. But it's hornbook politics, that you're supposed to talk about the future, and the elections are not about the past, they're about the future. Well, Trump doesn't seem to care about that, and look at where he stands. The other candidates are doing the conventional things, and the numbers haven't budged. Now, maybe they will, but they look pretty daunting in Trump's favor right now.
So I actually find this segment really refreshing for Fox because they're finally asking this question of their side. How do you think you can win an election when you can't even acknowledge you lost the last one? And my eternal question to Trump supporters is, what is the difference about 2024 that makes you think he can win when he will be facing the same opponent and now has like 100 federal charges against him? Mike Cernovich, a right-wing poster provocateur, seems to think, oh, it'll just come down to getting rid of mail-in voting, easy. But I don't think that's enough. And it is a reminder, though, for us to keep championing vote by mail and defending it, knowing that at this point it seems to be the right's only strategy at victory. Later on in this interview, Hume lays out how primary voters do not do a good job of voting for the person they think can actually win the White House. And I'll admit, I tend to vote that way on the left. The Biden team's only real argument in 2020 was that he can beat Trump, and he did. And I'll say it right now, should it come down to Trump and Biden, I am confident Grandpa Joe can do it again. For more of my coverage on The Breakdown, you can check out my latest video on MAGA moms cheering for Trump over his ridiculous proposal by clicking on the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at CaroJohnson917.